awful. Really great example Carnegie has here. He was living in this place called Forest Hills, just a little community of private homes in New York. And one day, he was going to the train station, and he met this real estate operator who had bought and sold property in the area for many years. And he knew Forest Hills well. So this is Dale Carnegie. And Dale walks up to this real estate guy and he says, "Hey, real estate guy who has been in this area for a very long time and bought and sold many homes. Hey, quick question. Do you know whether or not his stucco house was built with metal lath or hollow tile?" Which is just like this really specific question. And he said he didn't know, and he told me what he already knew. He said, "Dale, you can figure it out by calling the Forest Hills Garden Association." And the following morning, guess what happened? He receives a letter from this guy who's basically what? Real estate, you're basically selling homes, right? He's selling homes, and he says, "Hey, Dale, I'm gonna send you this letter." And it says, did he give him the information he wanted? No, he did not give him the information he wanted. He says, first of all, he could have gotten this information in like 60 seconds just by calling these people, but he didn't. He sends him this letter, and he says again that he could get the information by calling these guys. It would have literally taken him like a minute to figure it out and to do it for him and to add this value, right? But instead of adding this value, he just destroys it, and he says, "You work." Because he's not able to what? He's not able to look through Dale's eyes and realize that what this guy wants is just a little bit of information. All he has to do is provide this information, and it will be very valuable to him, right? And so he sends in this postcard, and he says, "Call them, do it yourself, I don't care," basically, right? And then in that same postcard, where he has added no value whatsoever, he makes an ask. And he says, Dale, can I handle your insurance?" Zip about Dale. He doesn't do anything for Dale. And then he makes this huge ask to handle his insurance. Because why? Because he cares about himself. But he's not adding any value whatsoever to dig his well so that he can make this request. He's not doing any of this at all. All he's focusing is on what he cares about and what he wants. "I want you to spend your money with me," is what he's saying over and over again. And that does not work. You can't do that. You think Dale lets him do his insurance? Of course not, right? He was interested only in himself, and he wasn't able to do more for Dale. You've got to do more to be more. Do more to have others care about you more. Like I write this book, not this, I didn't write this book. I write 9 to noon, okay? It's not just 9 to noon, I do more. I make courses like this, I do more to add more value. I have back-end implementation coaching, I do more. Why? Because as you do more, what are you doing? You're freaking building up this bridge. You're building up this ladder. And you're adding tons and tons of value. So when you get to this big ask, it's not as big anymore because you've already put all the work in up front to put tons and tons and tons of value in this relationship and this connection. It's huge. It'll change everything the instant you can follow this concept. J. Howard Lucas of Birmingham, Alabama. He tells of how 2 salespeople from the same company handle the same type of situation. Really powerful thing here. And if you work in sales, it's just huge. Sales is pretty cool. I've done some work. I've done a lot of work in sales in Monera. A lot of that is sales. And it's cool because literally the social skills that you have directly translate into money. And it's if you're selling product, it's just really cool. You guys obviously know, if you're working in this industry, you can kind of figure out, the goal with this training, right, is that you apply it to, whatever it is that you're passionate about or whatever it is that you love to do. And so hopefully you're out there, you're crushing it, and you're making it happen, you're doing it, and it's cool. You're absolutely crushing it based on this, which is ridiculously awesome, right? That's the goal. And so hopefully you can kind of take this example and run with it and do things with it that will absolutely, knock down doors that would otherwise have taken years to open on your own. By leveraging this training, which is super cool. All right, so this guy, he's in Alabama, and there's this huge insurance company, okay? And at this big insurance company, they got this huge office building. They've got a ton of salespeople, right? And their agents, they were assigned territories. And his company, you know, this guy, he ran his own company over here in faraway land, which was pretty kind of close. And they kind of had like two agents from this insurance company that came to this guy's company and tried to sell him insurance, right? And there was Carl and there was John, okay? So one morning, Carl comes in, drops by the office, and he casually mentions that his company has just introduced a new life insurance policy for executives and thought we might be interested later on. And he would get back to us when he had more information on it. He's just casually, he doesn't actually care. There's a difference, right, between not caring and between caring but not that much. When you're caring but not that much, like you have an insane passion to make it happen, but you understand that you have to chill out or it just won't happen. Versus not caring is just like you don't give a shit. And that's a bad place to be. That's not where you want to be. That's like where failures are, right? Because like if you don't care, you're gonna fail. You know, you've got to put effort in. You have to actually think that what you're doing is important and that what you're doing, you know, matters, right? Like I'm super passionate. You guys can kind of see like I care so much about this training. But when I'm selling it or when I'm sharing it with others and I'm distributing it, like I've put in all the effort, put in all the work. Like I care so much about it, but not that much, right? Like it's not a huge deal. You know, if you don't want to buy it, you know, it's okay, right? But there's a difference between that mentality and the mentality of, oh, I'm just gonna like, you know, record this course and put like 10% effort in, and then you should buy it for me because I want money. Like that's insane, right? People don't care. And so you need to care, but not that much. It's so different than what Carl does here. And what Carl does here is just like this dead guy approach of, oh, I don't really care about you. We have a new insurance policy. I can get you information on it later, I guess. Probably, maybe. Lacks enthusiasm, right? Gotta have that enthusiasm. It'll change everything. When you walk into a room, literally like, you walk into a room, and if you are the most excited person in that room, what's that mean? It means your vibrations are vibrating faster than everybody else in that room. And if you can translate that enthusiasm and those vibrations to other people and be like, guys, come here, we're having a huge party, it's the coolest thing ever. If you can share that with other people, it will make them so happy and they will love you so much and it will grow everyone. And everyone will come up to this insane level of passion and happiness and growth that you have the instant that you master that single tactic. Everything changes so you can walk into a room and everyone will love you. Why? Because you're one out of a million people that they'll ever meet that are actually passionate and that have that energy and share that energy and are confident enough to go out there and do it. This is the cool thing, right? You have to be able to improvise. And so what John does here is super powerful. Like these guys are literally coming back from a coffee break and John improvises, right? He makes it happen. He's not like, hey, schedule an appointment, make it happen, rigid. No, he's gotta be flexible, right? Gotta be flexible. He says, hey, Luke, hold up. I have some great news for you folks. And so he's like running over to these guys, super excited to do what? To deliver this great news. And he tells them about this cool new executive life insurance policy that his company introduced that very day, which was the same policy that Carl casually mentioned. But what did Carl say? Well, let's go back. Carl said, oh, there's this new life insurance policy for executives that you might be interested in. He's like, oh, cool, you know, whatever. But what John does is he's super pumped. And he says that he wants these guys to be one of the first issued policies. And he gives them a few important facts about the coverage. A few important facts. You don't want to overload these guys. Just gives them a few important facts. Because you want to sell the emotion, you want to sell the benefit, you don't want to sell the facts as much. Gives them a few important, because he knows that the product will deliver and the product will serve them. And so he lets them know a little bit about it. And he says this policy is so new, I'm gonna have somebody from home office come out tomorrow and explain it. Now, in the meantime, let's get the application signed and on the way so he can have more information to work with. Even though these guys don't have all the information, John's enthusiasm is what pushes them over that edge. Look, guys, literally, I have these people and they tell me that I will succeed, not because of what I know, not because of what I do, not because of the information, not because of the stocks, not because of the trading, but because of personality. And so, like, all you have to do to get to that level where people think that you're gonna succeed and people want to give you money because of who you are is to increase your enthusiasm, your passion, and your vigor with all of what you do so that other people are naturally gravitating towards your higher vibrating energy levels. And they want to help you succeed. So powerful, and it absolutely changes everything. Oh my God, it's so cool. This enthusiasm, it aroused an eager in these guys to buy this policy, even though they still didn't have the details. And when they were made available to them, they confirmed John's initial understanding of the policy, and he not only sold each of them a policy, but later doubled their coverage. But he made no effort to arouse in these individuals a strong, burning desire for the policies. The world is full of people who are grabbing and self-seeking, and so rare is the individual who unselfishly tries to serve others. That individual has an enormous advantage and radically little competition. Owen Young, a noted lawyer and one of America's greatest business leaders, once said, "People who can put themselves in the place of other people, who can understand the workings of their minds, need never worry about what the future has in store for them." Because if you can focus on adding value to other people's lives, what's going to happen? That value is going to turn into its monetary equivalent. And that's all that freaking matters, is serving others with insane amounts of value. So please, please, please go out there and add value. How do you want to add value? You add value very, very simply by serving others. That's all you have to do. If you get nothing else, right? Like think about how you can think in terms of other people's point of view. How can you think in terms of the people that you want to influence, their point of view? It doesn't matter if it's friends, if it's family, if it's professional relationship. Think in their point of view. What do they want? What would make them happy? What would add value to their lives? Right? Like, how cool is that? How much would that change everything? Think about the skills you have and what you're specialized in and what you're really, really, really good at. And then ask yourself, who's somebody that's not good at what I do? And how could I give them a whole ton of value? How could I do something that maybe for me might take an hour, but for them it would take 100 hours? And then do it for them, and they'll be in debt, they'll love you, dude! It's one of the easiest building blocks of your career. Is to just do things and see things from other people's points of view and their angles. And arouse in them an eager want for something. It's not manipulation, okay? And it's not trying to get someone to do something for your benefit. But both parties should gain. Like John, obviously, he gains. He makes this sale. But these guys get a super, super sick insurance policy, right? So both parties gain from this relationship. Both parties gain from this transaction. You want it to always, always, always be mutually beneficial so that everybody grows, right? The sender and the receiver of the goods at that shipping yard, they both gain by having this better shipping time arrangement. This lady who was trying to get a job at the bank, they both gained when she got her job. And so you want to use these tactics and you want to use these principles and you want to use this information ethically to have the biggest impact on your life that you ever could even dream of. Because everybody gains from the transactions that you participate in, which is so huge. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. Oh gosh. Another insane example where everybody gains through the principle of arousing an eager want. Eager want. Is this example with Michael Whitten from Rhode Island, who was a salesman for Shell Oil. And, you know, Mike, he wanted to be the #1 salesman in the district. Like, who doesn't, right? Like, that's super, super, super cool. But one service station, right? He had all these gas stations that he was working with, and they were all doing amazing. They're all being super happy, super excited, doing an amazing job. But there was this one gas station that was kind of like holding him back. It was holding his rankings back, his whatever, right? His sales. It was holding him back. And he wanted to be #1, and he was so motivated to be #1. But this one guy was holding him. It was run by like this older dude, and the older dude was like, dude, whatever, man. I'm just running a gas station. Chill out. And he really was not motivated to clean up his station, and it was in such poor shape that sales were declining significantly because nobody wanted to come in and buy things since it looked like a huge, like, you know, it was really like a big junk pile everywhere. And so the manager, like, he wouldn't listen to this guy Mike, his plans to actually improve the station. He just couldn't care less. He was like, dude, I don't care. And after many exhortations and heart-to-heart talks, which had no impact whatsoever, he realized that he can't keep forcing his own ideas, his own mindset of, I want to be the highest serving and the highest #1. I want to be #1. Like, this guy, he could not care less. He doesn't care that Mike wants to be #1. Like, all he cares about is his station and his satisfaction and his money and his growth and his development. And he doesn't care about Mike. And so the manager decides that Mike decides he needs to do something else. So he takes this manager, and instead of trying to force him into this situation, trying to force him to do better, like he's been doing for so long, for literally years, he goes and he takes this manager over to one of these really nice new stores in his area, and he says, hey, come walk around, come check out this really nice store. And they visit the newest Shell station in their territory, and he's like, wow, you know, this is really nice, this is awesome. So he goes back to his Shell station, and Mike, he says, all right, cool, well, have a great day. Now this manager, he knows that Mike wants him to clean up his station, and he knows that Mike wants him to increase his store profits. So Mike doesn't have to freaking tell him that. It's apparent, he already understands that. And as they made this trip to this beautiful store, like, he knows that Mike wants his store to be like that. And so Mike, he cares, but not that much. So he walks away from the manager, and he says, look, have an awesome day, I'll see you later. Within weeks, the manager was so impressed by the facilities at the new station that when Mike visited him next time, the station was cleaned up, had a record sales increase, so more money, cleaner, and it was just so much better. And it actually allowed Mike to reach this #1 spot for sales in the territory. He got exactly what he wanted because this guy increased the quality of his store, and he did it by arousing an eager want in him, by showing him that perfect modern station and giving him a goal, an aspiration to work towards, and something that he desired, not Mike, right? He doesn't care what Mike wants, but he wants this beautiful store that he saw. And so they both benefit from this relationship. They both benefit from this connection. They both benefit from applying this idea of just arousing in somebody else an eager want. So that's really the goal, right? Is to have this huge level of growth in your life, but also in the lives of others, by showing them how they can get exactly what they want. Super easily, by just working together towards that goal that they desire. Because what's cool is that as the other people in your life that you're trying to help get to their goals, as they reach their goals, all of a sudden, you reach your goals. And so if you want to reach your goals, one of the easiest ways to do that is to figure out who's in your sphere of influence that would, like, actually be really, like, you could help a whole lot, and then go out there and help them. I remember I was teaching some of my first students and mentoring some of my first, like, stock trading students, and like my goal, right? I didn't really have a goal. I didn't want to be like number one. I just thought it was super cool to be able to help people, and help my community. And like I had extra time because you trade 9 to noon, but then what else are you gonna do for the rest of the day, right? And so like I didn't have any goal to come from it. All I did was I helped my students get to their goals and start creating income and building real savings and retirements and starting to invest and absolutely crush it with financial markets. And then what happened? Those kids, they were the inspiration to go out and actually write 9 to noon, which has been like this huge #1 achievement, super cool thing for me. Why? It's because I added value to others and I was able to arouse in them an eager want to invest in financial markets and become wealthy. It is, I don't know, like, it's so difficult to convince other people that like they should make a ton of money. And it's weird because like that's all I'm trying to do right now is convince masses of people that like they should make a ton of money by investing in assets. And it's so crazy because like I'm literally asking people like, how can I convince you to make a ton of money? Because there's just like so much crap out there and there's so many scams and it's like and it freaks people out and it pushes them away. Because so many people, they just get total crap and it ruins their experience for like learning about investing or learning about online stuff. It sucks. And so you need to arouse in somebody an eager want to succeed. And if you do that, right, like it's going to have a benefit for you. The teacher who teaches their student to the level that the student surpasses them, the teacher always learns something new from their student. They always gain. And that's true in anything that you do. And it will absolutely change everything. Why? Because you focus on filling others' desires, giving them that want, and then fulfilling that want. It changes absolutely everything. It's so huge, so powerful. It's just awesome. Most people, they go through college, they learn to read Virgil or master the mysteries of calculus without ever discovering how their own minds function. For instance, Carnegie gave a course in effective speaking for young college grads who were entering employment at a company, big air conditioning manufacturer. And one of the participants wanted to persuade the others to play basketball in their free time. And so like this kid, he's not a kid, he's an adult. He was like, basketball's the coolest thing ever. Yay, basketball. You guys should come and play basketball with me. And so these guys, they were at work and they were like, okay, cool, you like basketball? That's cool. Why should we come and play basketball with you? ? And he says, oh my God, guys, you should come and play basketball because I like to play basketball. And the last few times I've been to the gym, there haven't been enough people to get up a game. 2 or 3 of us got to throwing a ball around the other night, and I got a black eye. I wish all of you would come down tomorrow night. I want to play basketball. He focuses on himself. What do you think these guys are gonna do? They're gonna be like, dude, are you kidding me? You didn't tell us anything that we wanted at all. Like, they don't want to go to the gym that no one else is going to. They don't want to like do what nobody else is doing. They don't want to get a black eye. And so if you want to get others to do what you want to do and to get on the same page as you, you've got to put more pep into it. Put in benefits for these guys. Say it's going to be fun. Yeah, it's going to be fun. Be enthusiastic. You're going to have a clear mind. Benefit, right? Benefit. You're gonna have a clear mind. It's gonna be games, basketball, right? Just sell like games, basketball. Like just sell the fun. You have to show them why they would want to do it, right? You have to arouse in the other person an eager want. And the instant that you can arouse in someone else an eager want, you have the whole world under your control. You can do literally anything that you desire by arousing in others an eager want. If you don't master this concept, and you aren't able to do this, you're gonna walk a very, very lonely way. So please, understand the insane power of getting others to actually want to do things, to be with you, and to have the impact that you want, and whatever the action it is that you desire. It doesn't matter like what aspect of your life it is in, because this single concept will underlie literally absolutely everything that you do. It's so huge. There was this one student of Carnegie's courses that was worried about his little boy. The child, he was underweight, he refused to eat, and his parents, they were always trying to like make him force feed him, right? And mom wants you to eat this, and dad wants you to eat this, and wants you to grow into a big man. This kid doesn't care what his parents want. He cares about what he wants, right? Like if they're sitting at the dinner table and he's got his mom, he's got his dad, and they're just chilling out, and he's right here in green, and he's got like all this food on the table, and like obviously, right, like in the short term, these parents, they could like force their kid to eat, and they could be like, you must eat. But in the long term, that's not gonna change his appetite. It's not gonna change how he eats, maybe when he's outside of home. It's not gonna change, how much of his lunch he eats versus how much of his lunch he gives away without them actually being there to watch over him. Like as you're teaching people or as you're connecting with people, like you're not always going to be there to watch over them. And so you need a permanent solution that's gonna have a real lasting impact on someone else's life. And the way you do that is by creating an internal desire, an internal drive for them to do what you want them to do. The instant you can do that, you're gonna have a really long-lasting effect, right? Long-lasting impact. And that is so huge, right? And so what do? Well, they have to look at it through the kid's eyes. They have to look at what he wants and what would affect him the most. And so, obviously he didn't care what his parents said. But the dad, he's trying to figure out, like, what does this kid care about? Because remember, there's a huge disconnect. This kid is 3 years old, and his father's like 30, right? And so, like, his father's gonna want something very different than what his kid wants, which is absurd, right? And so he saw that, and he said, what does this boy want? How can I tie up? How can you entangle what he wants, which is him to eat this food? How can he tie up what he wants with what this kid wants? He's thinking and he's thinking and he's thinking. He's trying to make this connection. And then he realizes that he has a tricycle that he loves to ride up and down the sidewalk in front of the house. But a few doors down, there's a huge bully, a big boy, right, whatever, right, who would pull the little boy off his tricycle and like ride it himself and basically just steal his tricycle, which is like the saddest thing ever. It's so mean. Now when this normally happened, like the kid, he would run home and he would go over to his mom and he'd be like, Mom, come get my tricycle back, And it was just this huge mess all the time. And he would just run screaming to his mother, and it was so sad because like all he wanted was his pride, and he didn't want to be so upset. Like it's not freaking that tough to understand that this kid has a desire for a feeling of importance, and a desire of the strongest emotions in his makeup to get revenge and crush this bully. It's not that tough. All you have to do is take a second and think, put in the time and say, what in the world could this other person, what do they actually want? But they don't have it, right? They don't have it. And then figure out a way you can give it to them. It doesn't have to be physical. It can be like, it can be an experience. It can be beating up this bully or whatever. Sometimes it's just an emotional payoff of a connection and thinking about progress towards a goal, which is so powerful. And so he wants to get revenge. And he says, look, you know what? Here's the deal. The father tells his kid that he'll be able to beat the daylights out of the big kid one day if he would only eat the things his mother wanted him to eat. And when his father promised that, when he promised this result that he wanted to beat up this bully, the boy would have eaten spinach, sauerkraut, salt mackerel, anything in order to be big enough to whip the bully who had humiliated him so often. Because that's what he wants. And his dad is literally just giving him an avenue to get what he wants. And he's showing him a way to have that achievement. And as soon as he realizes that eating healthy and eating all this food is nothing more than a means to an end, dude, that's all he will do, right? And so think about how can you apply this to your life, right? Like, maybe you have this one goal. Maybe you want to like lose a bunch of weight. Maybe you want to make a bunch of money. I don't freaking know. Whatever that goal is, right? Whatever you want, whatever you desire, okay? Like, what are like the habits? What are the things you have to actually do to get to that goal, okay? And then associate the things you have to actually do with things that you want. Because the instant you can associate the things that you want with the things that you need to do, you'll want to do the things you need to do to get to your goal. And that's the insane power of just like creating an internal drive and an urge and an eager want in both others and yourself to reach collective goals so much faster than before. And then what was interesting is like after this problem, I think we'll kind of wrap it up. This kid, he kind of like wet the bed a lot, and wetting the bed, it kind of sucks. It's not like something that most kids like have like any kind of control over at the beginning, which kind of sucks because like it's kind of not the best thing ever. And you always want to sort of have control over your life, and the way you do that, right, is through your emotions, through your thoughts, and through your actions that align with your thoughts, right? And so that's sort of like exactly what happens here. So this kid, he slept with his grandma, and like the problem or the challenge was in the morning, you know, he'd wake up and he'd be sitting next to his grandma, and there'd be like this pool of, you know, pee in the bed, right? And so it was just kind of like ridiculously gross and, you know? And so the grandma, you know, she would be like, look what you did last night. And he would say, no, I didn't do it. You did it, right? Because remember, when the grandma says, look what you did, what's she doing? She's attacking him, she's assaulting him, and she's sort of like, she's forcing him to become defensive. And this kid, he's defending himself because he just doesn't know what else to do. And so like, remember, like you don't want to attack other people. And that's what this grandma does initially. She says, look what you did. You know, can you believe what you did? I can't believe that. You know, that's awful, right? But remember that negativity is never gonna have a lasting impact. All it's going to do is incite defense, which is exactly why this kid says that she did it. And so she would scold him, she would spank him, she would shame him, and she would do all these negative things to reiterate to this kid that his parents didn't want him to wet the bed. And remember, we talked about this earlier, negative reinforcement, okay? And punishing people, negative punishment. Does not work. Never will that have the impact or the change or the lasting difference in any part of your life that you desire. This kid keeps wetting the bed over and over and over and over again because they don't figure out how they can make the boy want to stop wetting the bed. So what were his wants? First of all, he wanted to wear, you know, his pajamas, and he was like, I like pajamas, yay. So that was one of his first wants. And then also, just like, cause like his dad wore pajamas, instead of wearing a nightgown like his grandma, he didn't want to feel like his grandma. And so the grandma gladly offered to buy some pajamas so that the kid wouldn't pee the bed all the time. And second of all, the kid wanted a bed of his own. He wanted to be his own guy, his own big guy, right? And so the grandma's like, sure, dude, whatever. And so his mom goes to this mattress store, okay? And they get to this store, and she walks in with you know, this little like I think he's like 3 or 4 year old kid, maybe a little older. And she goes up to the sales clerk, and she like gives the sales clerk a big wink, and he says, here's a little gentleman who would like to do some shopping. And the sales girl makes him feel so important, gives him a feeling of significance, right? Gives him that feeling of significance, and says, young man, where can I show you? And he stood a couple of inches taller, and he said, I want to buy a bed for myself. And when he was shown the one that his mother wanted him to buy, she winked at the sales girl, and the boy was, you know, he's like a little kid, so pretty easily persuaded to actually go ahead and, you know, buy that mattress. And it's all focused on what? It's not focused on what the parents want. It's not focused on what the mom wants or what the sales rep wants. It focused on what the boy desires. And so they figure out what he actually wants, and they let him go and do it and get it. And he builds up his pride, and it makes him feel so happy. It makes him feel so important, so significant, because he went out there and he bought that bed. He made it happen. And he cared so much about it. So he brings this bed home to his dad. And his dad says, wow, nice freaking bed, dude. Are you gonna wet that bed? And he says, oh, no, I'm not gonna wet this bed. The boy kept his promise. Because his pride was involved. This was his bed. Because his pride is involved. This was his bed. He went out and he bought the bed. He made it happen. And so because of that, all of a sudden, since he alone had done it, and he was wearing his pajamas like a little man, he wanted to act like a man. This is what his dad wanted, right? Like, this is what his parents wanted. His parents wanted him to stop wetting the bed. They wanted him to act like a man. That was their end goal. And they get to this end goal by having the kid go through this process and this journey where he has this internal development that gets him to that same end goal. Because he knows his parents want him to stop wetting the bed. He knows that's what needs to happen. But he needs to go on a journey, on a process, and an internal change that will change his personality and, more importantly, change his habits so that he stops wetting the bed and acts like a man on his own accord. And makes it happen because he wants to. He eagerly wants to. And everything changes. And he stops wetting the bed. So powerful. So huge. I mean, with kids, like, it's anything, right? Where you want to change the way that people look at whatever you do. There's this one guy, KT Dushman, and he couldn't get his 3-year-old daughter to eat breakfast food, and scolding, pleading, coaxing, it just doesn't work. Because in the short term, you can like manipulate people, but in the long term, the only way to have that success and that growth is really through actual found principles. And the most found principle and the most long-lasting one is, of course, creating an eager want. No matter what you want to do, it's so powerful. And if you create an eager want, like, that's gonna last for so long, right? And so that's what he tried to figure out. And he knew that, like, the little girl loved to imitate her mother. She felt big and grown up, and she had all these benefits. So one morning, they put her on a chair and let her make the breakfast food. And at that psychological moment, Daddy drifted into the kitchen while she was stirring the cereal and she said, oh, Daddy, I'm making cereal this morning. She ate 2 helpings of the cereal without any coaxing because she was interested in the cereal. She cared about the cereal because she thought she was acting like her mom, and she felt more important. She had a feeling of significance and importance and achievement by making this cereal as an avenue of self-expression.